Welcome to you both. Mark, can we start with you? Because you are weighing very heavy on Steve Bannon's mind. We're actually going to play this because we want to play. He had a little press conference just hours after he was let out of jail on Tuesday. And this is what he had to say.
We're going to have, hopefully, Mike Davis and Boris Epshteyn and Bill McGinley, three of the prominent leaders in the legal effort to combat Mark Elias. Every day after the evening of November 5th is going to be Stalingrad, where Mark Elias is in court. Do you feel good about where we stand on the legal side to secure President Trump's victory as you see it right now?
Very much so. We're never going to be as good as Mark Elias, but we are so much better prepared in 2024 than we were in 2020.
Well, there's a lot there. Well. Okay. Well, first, we're never gonna be as good as Mark Elias. So, like, they realize that they're up against a very capable and talented litigator. But also, every day is gonna be Stalingrad. What does it say to you about what they're prepared to do to win? And I will know he had a presser. I think they recorded the podcast, and then he had a press conference, and he talked about you again there. It's a lot. You're on his mind.
Yeah, I definitely seem to be living rent-free in his mind and in the mind of the MAGA extremists, which, at one level I take as kind of a backhanded compliment. But the more time they waste spending on me and not on attacking Kamala Harris, I take as a win every single day. I will note that when they say that they are much better prepared in 2024 than they were in 2020, I mean, 2020 was, Rudy Giuliani sweating through his hair dye outside of a landscaping company, Sidney Powell claiming that there were mythical sea creatures and dead Venezuelan leaders, and Jenna Ellis, well, we know how that all turned out. So I take them seriously, and I believe that Donald Trump is going to falsely claim victory. I think he's going to try to attack the election system, and that will include filing frivolous lawsuits. We've already seen that. But look, in the month of October, according to Democracy Docket, they lost 18 lawsuits in 1 month. So, we have to be prepared, and we are, but I'm not super worried about their efforts.
Michael Beschloss, we know that the vice president's closing message is about turning the page on this chapter of American politics and American history. When have we seen America able to do that before?
Well, usually when there's a definitive victory with a winner and a loser. So in this case, if that's what she's talking about, she's saying that Donald Trump, from her point of view, must be defeated so soundly that anyone who runs for a future Republican nomination is going to be, have it very much on their mind how they can show that they are very different from Donald Trump. And the other thing is that, just as I hear you and Mark and everyone talking about this, I'm worried that younger people are going to assume that this has been true for all of American history, that an election is you try to win the election, and then maybe there's some violence, threats against state governors, as there was 4 years ago. And then after that, a Republican nominee, as we've seen this year, hinting about secret deals with the Speaker of the House to game the system to throw the people's choice into Congress and have this be a closed-door political choice. Point I'm making is that that's not what the founders had in mind. They had in mind peaceful transfer of power even in a close election. That happened with Kennedy-Nixon. That happened with Ford and Carter. Happened with Nixon and Humphrey. All of those in the last half century or so. That's what American history really is, not this evil circus that we're watching.
Mark, one of the underlying areas of stress testing this system, the lawsuits for sure, but it's also the organization on the ground, how both parties position themselves within the context of a state or county's election laws, et cetera. You have Donald Trump already setting the stage for blaming someone other than himself for his potential losses. Let's listen to what he has to say about the current RNC chairman.
And if you haven't voted early...
Chairman, who you know very well, so I'm not going to say he has done a great job, but if we don't win, then I'm going to call him up and say, you did a job. But I think we're going to win. RNC chairman, Michael Whatley. It's great.
One of the compelling aspects of this campaign was when Donald Trump turned the corner into this year, they stripped out the organizational infrastructure to level up 220,000 poll watchers. And now those poll watchers, instead of grassroots organizers, are the ones that the party is relying on. Talk to us about what those poll watchers and what are you seeing those poll watchers doing and how they can impact this election.
Yeah, I think it's a really important point. You know, I don't shed a lot of tears for Ronna McDaniel, but Ronna McDaniel was fired by Donald Trump because he believed she was not committed enough to his voter suppression tactics and his voter suppression plan. And so she was replaced by Michael Whatley, who came into the position with a promise that he was going to focus on voter suppression, election subversion, and at the expense of, as you point out, Michael, traditional get out the vote, traditional voter registration. We have heard Donald Trump say over time that he doesn't care about getting out the vote, that he doesn't worry about people voting. He just wants to focus on this. And that is a tone that has been set from the top. And I think has been heard loud and clear both by the RNC, by the state parties, by their right-wing funded, web of organizations. And so we have seen, lots of litigation aimed at trying to purge voters. We have seen lots of litigation aimed at trying to challenge voters. We have seen lots of efforts to try to do things to undermine the voting process. But here's the thing, Michael, it is failing. They are failing in courtroom after courtroom after courtroom. Judges are rejecting this. And so I have confidence as we head towards Election Day that we are going to have a free and fair election with no thanks to Donald Trump and the RNC, but we will have it and then we will see what the votes tally. And when they do, I strongly believe Kamala Harris will come out on top.